right now at 5.
It is a great morning to be an Alexandrian.
Smiles all around as Virginia rolls out the red carpet for the Caps, Wizards, and a multi-billion-dollar arena complex.
Governor Youngkin tonight laying out why he's confident the plan will clear its next hurdle.
One possible sticking point is right here near the site. The concerns about an already congested Route 1.
While here in D.C., the mayor and council make a counteroffer as we look at how Capital One Arena transformed downtown.
And we begin with a story everyone is talking about. Are the Capitals and Wizards a step closer to moving to Alexandria? These are new renderings of what the new sports arena would look like.
And the proposal announced by Virginia leaders and Monumental Sports today would take the Caps and Wizards from D.C.'s Chinatown to a site near the Potomac Yard Metro. It is a $2 billion move, but D.C. isn't giving up, announcing their own bid to keep the teams.
That's right. 7 News is on your side with team coverage of this big story that could change the landscape of both areas, no matter the final decision. We begin with Nick Minock. He's live for us with a rooftop view of that Potomac Yard site. Nick.
Well, this will all have to go to the Virginia General Assembly for approval. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first I want to show you the area of where this proposal is expected to be built. You can see it just over my shoulder. Take a look at this video from earlier today. You can see Potomac Yard neighborhood, the Metro Rail stop, a big parking lot where the arena will be built, and the rooftop of the Target, the Staples, off of Route 1 here in Alexandria. And here's what the location is expected to look like when the project is finished. This will include an arena for both the Washington Capitals and Washington Wizards, the global corporate headquarters for Monumental Sports and Entertainment, a performing arts venue, a new retail, residential, restaurants, hotels, conference, and community gathering spaces. So a whole lot planned for this area. Governor Glenn Youngkin said this project has bipartisan support in the Virginia House and Senate. Take a listen.
Well, this is the exact same process that we undertook with HQ2. Which is an agreement, a very formal handshake and understanding, but recognizing that we do need to finalize everything with our General Assembly. We had a unanimous vote from our most important committee, which is our Committee on Major Employment and Investments. That was unanimous, it was enthusiastic, and that sets the stage for a very productive General Assembly session, where we, of course, will finalize.
And take a look at this tweet. It's from State Senator Louise Lucas. She's the chairman of the Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee. She writes, while some people want sports stadiums, I want tolls to disappear from Hampton Roads, and I want recreational sale of marijuana. Guess we will have to find compromises this session. So that's from Senator Louise Lucas. She's going to be leading budget talks come January in the General Assembly. I did reach out to some Republican and Democrat state lawmakers. A lot of them are still waiting for more information on this plan before they commit to whether or not they're going to vote for it. That's the latest live in Alexandria. Nick Minock, 7 News.
All right, Nick, thank you. Our team coverage continues now with 7 News DC Bureau Chief Sam Ford. He was at Mayor Bowser's press conference today. Very different energy there as she touted why the teams should stay in the district.
Sam is live outside Capital One Arena with some historical perspective tonight. Sam?
Yes, Scott, Michelle, you know, I was just listening to Nick Minock talk about all the things that they want to have in Virginia. Well, since 1997, this center, which probably generates more economic activity than just about anything in downtown D.C., has brought a lot of those things here. And so the city, obviously, the mayor's administration is extremely disappointed.
We know that D.C. fans and D.C. residents are loyal and that they are disappointed today. Senior told me just at our annual senior holiday event, remember, if a door closes, many others open.
As the mayor lamented the likely loss of the Wizards and Caps at the Capital One Center, some 30 years ago, it was the Redskins, now Commanders, leaving RFK. But out of the blue, in 1994, D.C. native son, the late Abe Poland, announced he would build a basketball and hockey sports arena in downtown D.C.
I will build this building, and it will open here.
The city demolished these government buildings and made way for what was first called the MCI Center.
Downtown Washington was largely deserted back in the late 80s, early 90s. Crime was out of control. That part of downtown, the Chinatown area.
Jack Evans was a local council member at the time. He says it transformed the Chinatown area.
The end result is a spectacular success up until today for our downtown.
And it was repeated when the city put the Nationals baseball stadium in Southeast, followed by Audi Field Soccer Stadium in Southwest. An entire commercial city sprang up. Evans says it all started with the arena.
Basketball bringing 20,000 people downtown on nights and weekends can't be replicated. And so what has happened, I think, is a huge blow to the city. I would say this is worse than when we lost the Redskins.
The mayor and council have offered Monumental Sports $500 million to keep the teams at the Capital One Center, as she took a swipe at Virginia.
We don't ever want to see a business go to one of our jurisdictions. We don't like to see jurisdictions trying to poach businesses from us, so it's disappointing.
Monumental talked today as if it would like to continue to have a relationship here with hosting minor events here at the Capital One Center. Mayor was asked her reaction to that. She didn't say no, but she made clear that she has not yet given up on keeping the major teams here, the Caps and the Wizards. Reporting live from Northwest Washington, I'm Sam Ford, 7 News.
Sam, thank you. So what would happen to Capital One Arena if the Caps and the Wizards moved to Alexandria?
7 News sports anchor Scott Abraham joining us now in studio with the plans announced today. Scott, fill us in.
Yeah, Scott and Michelle, the big question I've been getting from viewers on social media platforms, what is now going to happen with Capital One Arena? Leonsis is going to have this new shiny toy in Alexandria, but at the same time, he will still be the owner of Capital One Arena in downtown D.C. If the Wizards and Capitals move across the river, Leonsis mentioned today about transforming Capital One into a unique, flexible arena. We're talking a lot more concerts and a bigger showcase of women's sports. Leonsis envisions his WNBA team, the Washington Mystics, to potentially play their home games again at Capital One Arena.
We own Capital One Arena. We also own the Washington Mystics. Women's sports is transcendent. My belief is that at Capital One Arena that we can host women's sports, and our intention is to expand here and keep Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. a great place.
Okay, to be clear, this is still several years away. Under the terms of his lease with D.C., Leonsis can't move the teams to Virginia until 2027. He mentioned today that the new arena at Potomac Yard would be ready in 2028. Michelle?
All right, Scott, thank you. And keep in mind, D.C. is still trying to get the Commanders to move back to the city, but they're not alone in that. The team is also being courted by leaders across the DMV, and that includes officials in Prince George's County who want the Commanders to stay in Landover. D.C.'s mayor has also been urging the team to return to the RFK Stadium site, and she's proposing redeveloping that area to include housing, retail, restaurants, and new recreational facilities, as well as a new football stadium.
So another big question that a lot of people have tonight, what about traffic? Roads in the area of Potomac Yard, including Route 1 and the GW Parkway, are already congested. 7 News' Tom Rousey is on your side. He's looking into the impact the proposed sports arena could have on your commute. 7 News has been tracking every new development with this proposal. Our team coverage continues coming up at 5:30 and 6, including fan reaction. And if you missed today's announcement, you can find a breakdown of the proposal on WJLA.com right on the homepage.
All right, now to your first alert forecast. We're looking ahead to another cooler day before a nice warm up. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson. VJ?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm one of those folks that likes the occasional warmth during the winter. And of course, meteorological winter did start at the beginning of the month. Warmer than average air. That's what's happening right now in the nation's midsection, but we'll have it for the weekend and early part of next week, just in time for our next weather maker because we've got a lot of moisture that's going to come our way. So what are the temperatures as we warm? Tomorrow we're forecasting 46 degrees. That's pretty close to what this afternoon topped out at. And then some 10 degrees warmer for Friday. We're forecasting 56, a pair for Friday and Saturday. And both Friday and Saturday right now is looking dry. Sunday we've got the next weather maker, but again, 50s Sunday and Monday. No issues whatsoever in terms of snow showers. However, this system could linger into Tuesday when temperatures start dropping again. And drop they will here overnight under the clear skies. It's going to be cold. I like that we are continuing to see the clearing take place from today's high clouds, because today we've got the Geminid meteor showers expecting to peak 9 p.m. going into dawn. Michelle, it's one of the best of the year, most active meteor showers of the year. We'll have more on that coming up.
All right, I'll have to look up. Thank you, VJ. Right now, Maryland State Police are looking for the driver involved in a deadly hit and run in a work zone on the Beltway. We just learned a tree trimming employee was hit and killed while on the side of the road. Skytrax 7 was over the scene this morning on the inner loop near the Georgia Avenue exit in Montgomery County. State police now say that tree trimmer was hit by a truck hauling a flatbed with a forklift. This tragedy also, of course, a reminder of Maryland's move-over law to switch lanes for work zones and emergency vehicles.
Still ahead here at 5, a marathon meeting lasting more than a day. The controversial vote to bring more data centers to Northern Virginia and the heated testimony overnight.
If you get 1 million people who lose $1,000, that's a big number.
Oh, yes, it is. Americans may be losing billions, in fact, billions more to scammers than federal agencies are able to track. The 7 News I-Team is on your side with some of the most devious scams hitting your phones and emails this holiday season.
With concern about carjacking at an all-time high, a local entrepreneur has an idea. He'll bring gasoline to you so you can avoid the gas station.
Tonight we're learning a controversial data center project has been approved in Prince William County, and it comes after a marathon meeting lasting 27 hours.
Now, despite hearing from hundreds of people against and for the plan, the Board of Supervisors just gave the Digital Gateway the green light. 7 News' Carolyn Patricus is live in the newsroom, and she's got a closer look at what's included in this deal. Carolyn?
Yeah, well, nearly 400 Prince William County residents spoke at this meeting, which started yesterday morning and wrapped up this afternoon with a 4-3 vote in favor of the project. According to the meeting, the vote approved 2 companies, QTS and Compass Data Centers. That will include 37 data centers taking millions of square feet across more than 2,000 acres of land. Most of it is rural and farmland, which the owners agreed to sell to the companies. The Prince William County Planning Commission actually gave a recommendation to deny this vote. Now, supporters in favor say that the centers would provide revenue for the county and benefit many financially because they're property owners. Now, those against the project cite water concerns, noise levels, and worry about the East Coast electrical grid.
But now you need to decide, and you will decide for all residents who will benefit from the increased tax base, the open access to the now closed private lands, and a safer Page Land Greenway.
As the land is developed, the data center computer peripheral tax will generate much more revenue. The value will just continue to grow year after year.
But I do have serious problem with my elected officials using my tax dollars for an unnecessary lawsuit for a widely unpopular, highly controversial land use deal that only benefits the select few in this county. It's pathetic.
Both of those companies that were approved for this project gave us a statement. You can find that on WJLA.com. Michelle?
Caroline, thank you. And last month, we told you about plans moving forward for another large data center in the county. After a meeting that lasted nearly 12 hours that time, the Board of Supervisors voted to approve zoning for the Devlin Technology Park facility in Bristow. Several neighbors have complained about the potential noise and loss of green space. 7 News has also been following data center debates in Fairfax and Loudoun counties. All right, 7 News with 5 stops at 5, covering stories around the DMV. Our first stop is in Northwest D.C., where the National Portrait Gallery unveiled a new portrait of Oprah Winfrey. A Chicago-based artist painted Winfrey in a garden at her California home. It's now on display on the first floor of the Portrait Gallery. Also in the district, Howard University's football team is getting a big send-off as the Bison fly to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. The Thunder Machine, drumline, and cheerleaders giving them a boost ahead of their game against Florida A&M. Both schools will face off in the National Black College Football Championship. The game is Saturday at noon right here on 7 News. Our next stop is in Montgomery County, where Santa gave his reindeer a well-deserved break. They needed a work-from-home day, and they rode through Bethesda on a motorcycle instead. The ride benefits the Children's Inn at NIH. Santa's yearly visit always thrills the children and families staying at the inn. Montgomery County Police helped organize the ride, and the officer elves also dropped off gifts for the kids. Now to Prince George's County, where a holiday celebration made sure children there who are deaf or hard of hearing could visit with Santa. He's known as Santa Charles, and he returned to the Gaylord National Resort today. He signs with the children to make sure he doesn't miss anything on their wish list. Our last stop takes us back to the district where seniors celebrated the holiday. This event was held at the D.C. Armory in Southeast, I should say. I got distracted by the lovely ladies in blue. There were several performances and dance routines. Lovely. All right, let's talk about the weather because it's starting to feel like that time of year. Our chief meteorologist, Veronica Johnson, has a look at your forecast in 30 seconds.
Well, good evening, everyone. Outside tonight, get ready to look up and make a wish. We've got one of the best meteor showers of the year set to peak tonight going into early tomorrow morning. And look at this, we're all green. D.C., Maryland, Virginia, that is a go for clear conditions. Perfect for viewing, and we may be able to see dozens an hour of those little streaks zipping through the sky. 9 p.m. until dawn, that's the time in the east to southeastern sky, best locations to look. And if you do get any great photos, send them in to our Chime In gallery. Just go online to WJLA.com or within the free 7 News app. 45 degrees and holding right now after temperatures topped out in the upper 40s today. So I mentioned 9 p.m. until dawn, the best chance for viewing the Gemini meteor showers. At 9 p.m. your temperature 38 degrees will drop to freezing just around midnight and thereafter, and will hold with temperatures freezing and sub-freezing going right into early tomorrow morning. All that to say, yeah, it's going to be clear, but it sure is going to be cold early tomorrow morning. Bundle up, heading out the door once again. 30 for D.C., 23 Manassas and Warrenton for areas like Herndon too. 26 in the early morning hours tomorrow. Hourly look of the day tomorrow. We'll head up to 43 degrees by noon and 40s, mid-40s for around 2-3 o'clock with sunshine. We'll have winds out of the west-southwest, and that is going to be a huge help for the end of the week on Friday because our temperatures will rebound. We'll see them rise about 10 degrees for Thursday afternoon compared to Friday. And look at this, nothing but sunshine. Clear skies for Friday night out and dry conditions for Saturday night out after also topping out in the mid-50s. Real important because Saturday easily going to be the best weekend day to head out. Here's a look at your next weather maker. And for anyone traveling, say Monday, Tuesday, early next week, just before the big holiday, Christmas, this is a system that may slow some of you down for some of the big cities. Sunday, look at the rain starting at around noon and continuing 3 o'clock. That system moves right over us Monday with winds increasing. So we're going to be wind whipped again. Windswept downpours expected with rainfall between 1 and 2 inches and wind gusts that's easily looking like they could be over 30 miles per hour. So again, that's a Sunday, Monday system that may even linger into early Tuesday. So let me show you Tuesday. We will be clearing out. Temperature 45 degrees in the afternoon, but 30s in the morning. And these areas in pink, there could be some light snow showers mixing in with the snow next week Tuesday, and maybe a brief period of flurries by 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday before that system heads out. So that's days out. Lots going to change. We'll get a blog up at WJLA.com for you to check out. We're back.
The Justice Department says 8 men from the D.C. area are now facing charges in connection to a fentanyl and cocaine ring. They're also accused of selling thousands of fake pills with fentanyl made to look like OxyContin. The U.S. Attorney for D.C. says the men were also dealing fentanyl powder that contained carfentanil, which is an animal tranquilizer that's 100 times more potent than fentanyl.
Fentanyl kills, and peddling this poison in these quantities is the surest way to find yourself the subject of a federal investigation like this one. We will leave no stone unturned, charging both those who are selling the toxin in our streets and those who are funneling the drugs to our community.
Federal authorities say 7 of the 8 men facing the indictments are now in custody. We're told the drug conspiracy started back in 2021.
And the district's youth crime issue is once again front and center for the D.C. Council. The council's hosting a joint committee oversight roundtable. It's the latest in a series of meetings to search for solutions to this growing problem of teenagers committing crimes and then becoming victims of violence. Council members also talked about the relationship between public safety and youth behavioral health.
The 7 News Eye team with astounding numbers tonight about the money lost to scammers. We're on your side exposing the tricks that will fool even the most cautious consumers.
And there's a lot of excitement about the idea of a big new sports arena in Alexandria, but there are some folks who are not excited at all, particularly local residents who say the roads around here are already congested. Coming up, what elected leaders have to say in response to that.
You're watching 7 News, on your side at 5.
Welcome back. You know, any given rush hour, Route 1 in Alexandria is backed up with traffic. It's a narrow 2-lane road in each direction.
And now add to the mix thousands more people just trying to get to a home game for the Caps or Wizards. 7 News' Tom Rousey is joining us live in Alexandria with some of the challenges there, Tom.
Yeah, Megan and Michelle, where they want to put this new arena is essentially on the other side of the popular Potomac Yard shopping center here. Well, on this side of it is probably the main way folks would get to this thing. Route 1, a road that gets congested every PM rush hour, and that's exactly when a lot of folks would be heading to most of the games.
I just don't know how they would do it. I just think it's not a good idea.
The tradition of these things, when they're built here, congestion and crime.
Potomac Yard residents say regarding congestion, nearby Route 1 is already bad, and Potomac Avenue, the street the new arena would sit on, was not built for this.
It is unsustainable. This is supposed to be a back way for local residents.
Local and state leaders promise road improvements, but there are few details.
We've still got some work to do. We need some additional plans on transportation.
Clearly, this is going to be a transit-driven operation. You know, there are a very small number of parking spaces that are proposed as part of this project.
Alexandria Mayor Justin Wilson says the new Potomac Yard Metro Station is the main way people would get to the proposed arena and entertainment district. Both blue and yellow line trains come to the station, which just opened back in May after delays and going over budget. Other non-car alternatives include nearby bus-only lanes on Route 1, plus trails for walkers and bikers. But there's little question some fans would drive, and the nearby GW Parkway and Route 1 already get jammed during evening rush hour, which is exactly when fans would come to many games. Also, sometimes when nearby Reagan National Airport gets busy, its traffic can spill onto both those roads. Residents fear an arena would create a nightmare, but per elected leaders,
there's a big plan to open up access to all the major thoroughfares.
We're going to make improvements to some of the road network and make sure both that we protect our neighborhoods and we ensure that people who are driving can get in and out of here.
By the way, we asked for details on that, quote, big plan the governor was talking about. Haven't heard back as of yet. By the way, also, you see those Christmas lights across Route 1 there. That's a neighborhood. And there are also some concerns tonight that if this new arena gets built, where they want to put it on the other side of the shopping center here, since there isn't much parking with it, folks may want to park in those neighborhoods and walk over to it. That's one of the things the mayor was talking about, indicating they want to find a way to prevent that from happening when and if this arena gets built, and it would open in 2028. Well, for more about our team coverage of this new proposed arena, we're going to go to Scott Abraham now. Scott?
Yeah, long way to go. Thank you, Tom. I know many DC sports fans are excited about today's major announcement of building a new arena at Potomac Yard. I want to caution everybody, though. Take you back 31 years ago. Then Washington Redskins owner Jack Kent Cooke had a press conference at the same Potomac Yard site announcing a new stadium. We all know how that turned out. It never happened. I want to bring in 7 News reporter Brad Bell, who remembers that day very well. Brad, what can you share with us?
Yeah, look, today's announcement hit me with a sense of deja vu because I do remember all of those struggles. Back in '92, Jack Kent Cooke, the then owner of the then Redskins, had grown dissatisfied with RFK Stadium. His negotiations with the district were not going well, also with the National Park Service. So he turned to Virginia, and you're right, they had a big press conference. Governor Wilder of Virginia, Jack Kent Cooke, announcing that they were going to be building the stadium right there at Potomac Yards. That was in the middle of the summer. By October, the deal was dead. They just couldn't come to terms on a number of things like that. And then Jack Kent Cooke said he was going to build it in Laurel, in Anne Arundel County, at the Laurel racetrack. And they moved ahead with planning. They bought land, all of those things. That deal then fell apart. And then they came to where I'm standing now, which was then Wilson Farm, and they created this place where FedEx Field is. A lot of the struggles back then had to do with the same things we're hearing about now. Transportation, access to roads, who's going to pay for all of these things. And ultimately, they could not make the deal over in Virginia, and they couldn't make it up in Anne Arundel County. They were able here to make it in Prince George's County. But I'll say one difference here is that we're talking about football stadiums here, FedEx Field, the Redskins, now Commanders. That's not very many dates, and it is considered a much bigger economic driver to have basketball and hockey and all of those various events in a neighborhood.
Well, 7 News is on your side tonight. While you're juggling work, kids, and getting ready for the holidays, 'tis the season for criminals to take advantage of your less than focused attention.
Senior investigative reporter Lisa Fletcher drills down on the latest scams likely to fool even the most cautious consumers and discovers Americans are losing billions more than the official data shows.
It was so crazy. I still cannot get over it.
In a matter of minutes, a series of well-timed maneuvers by criminals had Renee Robertson handing over thousands in cash.
How much money did you lose? It was about $3,100.
It's a devious scam that starts with a small, intentionally suspicious charge being made on a stolen credit or debit number.
On the day that I got scammed, my bank alerted me through text message that a suspicious transaction had been made on my debit card. And that was a real text.
The criminals knew the charge would immediately trigger this real text message from Renee's bank. So the criminals followed minutes later with a call pretending to be from Bank of America.
It said Bank of America on the call, and I thought, oh, they're calling me about this fraudulent charge that I just got. And that's when I answered the phone.
Renee says a pleasant-sounding man walked her through reversing bogus charges he said were on her Zelle account.
He had me open my mobile banking app, create a new contact, name the contact myself, so it had my name on it. And then he gave me a number that he said was the claim number for this charge reversal.
It wasn't until she got this confirmation text that she realized the account number she'd input actually was a phone number, and she'd just sent thousands of dollars to the criminal. The FTC says last year Americans lost $2.6 billion to imposter scams, like claiming your Amazon package is delayed, bank fraud prevention, or free gift offers.
Well, it definitely is getting more sophisticated and harder for people to recognize as fraud right away.
Alex Quilici is the CEO of YouMail, a free service that blocks scammer calls, texts, and voicemails. Based on the company's data analysis, Quilici says Americans are losing far more than what's being reported to the FTC.
We did the estimate of losses. It was like $20 or $30 billion. And it's ramped up dramatically. Even the FTC's numbers are 10x what they were only 3 years ago.
Quilici says now criminals are much more targeted.
It used to be spray and pray. They would call everybody hoping certain people will answer. Now it feels like they're making far fewer calls. And they're almost targeting people who might have a particular credit card.
And if that's not enough, expect to be hit from all sides.
The scammers are going multi-channel, so you will get the same scam from email, text, and calls. And they all reinforce themselves, especially package delivery scams. In the holidays, it's a perfect time to try to pull off that scam.
Quilici says there are 3 things you can do to arm yourself. Get a call blocking app on your phone. Do not trust your incoming calls. And do your homework. Independently find the number and call them back to verify if the contact is real.
And Lisa, didn't Renee know that her debit card had been stolen, or she did not know?
She did not know, and that's not that unusual because a lot of times these numbers are stolen and they don't take your card. It's lifted from some purchase you made. Renee was able to get her money back from Zelle, but that is extremely unusual. Zelle says treat it like cash because the chances are you're not going to get it back. And it did take months, but she got it back.
Such a good reminder. Thank you for doing that story.